Folks, welcome to Camera Day's bite-sized video tutorials. Once again today I'm going to be focusing on Lightroom 5. I think it's one of the most powerful tools we have as a photographer to really improve your raw images. I'm sure you're all shooting raw, I know I do every day. But let's have a look at one particular aspect today, that is the adjustment brush. I'm in the develop module, as you can see, and I've got a generic image open here. And I could, I haven't done anything with it at all. It's straight out of camera. But I click on the adjustment brush up here, and what I can do is I can go in and change these sliders, and what I get is a brush that enables me to do it. So you can see here I've got this round brush. I can use my mouse wheel to make it larger or smaller. I could use the size, the feather, so that gives us the two circles to soften the edge of the effect. We've got a fairly large feather here, and the flow gives me the ability to give a very subtle effect, down at the sort of very small numbers, 10, 15, 20, or a very strong hard effect at 100. I can use auto mask, and it will try and follow exactly what I'm doing in the colors that I'm picking in. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm going to have a go at this white area here. I'll try auto mask, it might work. And what it should do is constrain my effects into just that pure white area. I would think here it's going to work where we've got a very strong contrast. Here it might not be so good. But let's go into here and let's say what we actually want to do exposure wise. What I want to do is take that exposure down a little bit, maybe 0.4, because I think this is a little bright, and I can see the effect that it's having. I've got a very low very high flow, and you can see here this edge that I'm getting, and I really don't like that. So we've got that still selected, so I'm going to hit the delete key, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take down my flow. I'm going to drill in a little bit to this image, and I'm using spacebar to give me the hand. When I hold space, gives me the hand, I can move it. I've got this nice bright white area. I'm going to make the brush a little bit bigger now, and I've taken the flow down to about 23. And what I can do is I can turn off auto mask, and I can let that just bleed into those colors. But it's kind of hard to see, where actually is that brush going? Am I darkening it much? Am I not? What you can do is if you hit the O key, you can see here we've got a visual depiction of where that mask is. It comes up in red in this case. If I hit Shift and O, I can actually change the color of that. Now if I was working in foliage, that green color might be hard to see. Red I find is the one that's best to see. So I'm going to hit over here, and let's just paint that into there, because I don't want a nasty halo or anything appearing on the edge there. And I'll keep painting this through. I'm building up my layers of effect, if you want to call it that. And let's say done. And what I've got now, when I go look at that, I've just toned it down a little bit. I could go further if I wanted to. I could go back into the adjustment brush. You can see the little nodule there, and there's where I've been painting. Now I'm not really happy about that darker spot there. I really didn't probably want that in there. So if we go back in and we use the one-to-one up here to zoom back in again, I'm not really sure about this area. But if I hold down the Alt key or the Option key on a mouse, what I can actually do is I can start to take that out, and it will, sum it away from the image. So here we go. That's probably about right. Maybe we should go back in there and just paint that little edge in there just to soften that out. And a little bit more just on the edge, and then we'll take this little piece out along the cloth. I'm only doing it roughly just so that you can kind of see where I am. Let's go back over that a little bit here. So there we go. So that now shouldn't affect it, and we say done. And you can see here the difference that, I've backed that off. You can see where I've missed that edge out just to show you the contrast of the colors. Works quite well. So remember, it's O key to turn the colored mask on and off when you're in the adjustment brush. Select the one you want to look at. We say O on and off, and we can see that. So that's really cool. I quite like that effect. It works quite well. But there are some other effects that we could use that might make our life easy. And you could potentially, if you wanted to, if we go back into our adjustment brush and we go under Effect, what we could do is we could do things like teeth whitening. So I can pick that up and it will brighten the brush a little, and it will take down some of the saturation. And what I can use teeth whitening for, and it's actually quite cool, let's turn O back on again, is what I can actually do is use that to lighten somebody's eyes. And the reason you'd want to do that is if they've got a lot of veins, or they've got kind of dark muddy eyes. What you could do here is you can actually brighten up the whites of their eyes, and we'll take a little bit of that out where I've gone over there. So take that out there, and very subtly we've kind of whitened the eye up a little. Probably needs a little bit more of an effect, so let's go back in there because I've got fairly low flow, and let's just up the flow a little bit, and let's up the exposure a little bit, and we should be done. There we go. That's a little bit whiter, not too much because we don't want them to look like dolls. But one of the interesting ones is how can you create your own, and what can you do with them? Because sometimes if you do this a lot, you might want to combine effects together. And I'll give you an example. If I did something like iris enhance, and I want to enhance the irises of this guy's eyes, it's not the sharpest shot. Not too much detail in there, but we might want to brighten them up a little bit, as you can see here. Let's brighten them up a little bit more. Let's boost the color within them. But what we might also want to do is boost the clarity in there. That's mid-range blacks, so that any lines within the eye will come up. And what we also might want to do is just boost the contrast a little, and potentially you could, and I'm a little bit of overkill, but it's really to show you the difference. And what I can do now is I can go through and paint on that eye, just around his iris. We'll paint over all of it. We've got his the middle of his eye, which we don't want, so let's get rid of that. We'll take that out because we still want to have a nice black pupil, and then we say okay, we're done. And what you can see, if you look at the difference between the two, there's much more detail in this eye now, much more impact. And I might say, I want to save that as a default brush. So what I can do here, I've got it now says custom, because you can see I've got all those different sliders roughly where I wanted them. If I click on that custom again, what I can do is I can say save current settings as a new preset. And what I can do is say, we'll call this test iris, and we say create. Now that's here as test iris. If I double click on effect, it zeroes all of the sliders. And what I can now say is actually what I want to do is, and you can see here I'd already done my own version of an iris enhancement, but let's go back to teeth iris, and there you go, we're back to that same set of settings that we had before. So it's really easy to remember your favorite options. Doing things like warming up an image or warming up areas of an image are really kind of interesting to do. When you've got a slightly cold image, you can warm it up in just areas, or just warm the skin up to make it look like someone's got a healthy tan. But have an experiment, have a play with it. It is a really useful tool. I find it one of the most useful things to do. Get to know it. Remember, O key gives you the mask. Shift O gives you the different colors of masks, so you can actually see what you're doing. And remember to vary your flow so that you don't do anything too heavy. And give auto mask a go, because it can be very useful when you have high contrast environments. So good luck with that. Good luck with your editing. Feel free to comment on the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you back on the channel soon.